Yo, what's up, guys? This is Rob from Raw Productions, starting a new series where we're interviewing the most inspiring people out there on a creative journey. And we're starting off with my homeboy, Lou Bosch. He's been with Raw Productions from the beginning, and we've been friends before that too. And so today we're just going to talk about our journey and what we got going on now. We're going to have more people on the show, so stay tuned and let's get into the episode. What's up, Lou? How are you doing today, man?
Good, man. I'm not sure how inspiring I'm gonna be. I'm still broke as shit.
Well, you know what, dude? So are the rest of us. So we're all just figuring it out. And that's
Fair
the
enough.
point of the show is because, I started watching more inspiring videos of people like on the come up as opposed to people already there. And I think those stories need to be told more. So just trying to reach out to all my creative friends, and who better to start with than Lou Bosch himself. So let's just get right into it, man. And
Hey, I
when
appreciate
did
it.
yeah, man. So, when did we become friends, would you say? Feel like it was like 6th or 7th grade, right?
Well, yeah, because you were homeschooled, right?
I was homeschooled till 5th grade. I came to middle school, but I don't think we met 5th grade. And you went
Oh,
to
you came
elementary
in fifth
school.
grade?
Yeah, yep. I came in 5th grade, but I was on the other side of the wing from you. And
Oh,
then, but
I
I
was
was
on the
friends with
cool.
Adam.
I was
Adam
on the cool
Klein.
side.
You were on the cool side. But yeah, but then I was playing middle school football, whatever, with Adam Klein.
Oh yeah.
And then Adam was friends with you, and then that's how we met.
I don't even know how we became friends, really, Rob. You know what? This must have cultivated at the Adam Klein sleepovers.
You're right. You're probably right.
Probably did. Dude, this shit was so much fun. This was in like seventh grade because this was when like I first started to get a girlfriend, and
Mhm.
we were in the other room and texting back on the little iPods that we had.
Yeah.
Klein, what's your Wi-Fi, man?
Yeah, if
I
you
need
didn't
a
have
kick. I
Wi-Fi, you
need a
were
kick. I
talking.
need a kicker. I would look back, and then you guys would give me a signal, and
Oh,
then
yeah. Say something, we'd say either don't do it or do it. Yeah, man.
yeah, I would make my moves then.
Yeah, man. And then we start
Yep.
sitting at the same, lunch table, you, me, Devin, Morgan, all of her friends. But
Jack was still at the cool table at this point.
yeah, yep. So, he was, he had the J-Wag show, so he was riding pretty high, but
You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
but he had
So
his own
true,
thing going
dude.
on. He had the girls sitting there and everything, so it's crazy. Like, you think you're gonna remember everything, and you're like, I don't know, you get older and you're just like, it's all blur.
Dude, I know. That's crazy, man. And that's
Mhm.
why that's why like I kind of try to just take in as many moments as I can, dude, because
Yeah. And then, high school is when, like, I feel like we all really came from, like, a big group of friends. Started having more Friday night football games at my house, goofing off and stuff. You and me had a math class, and remember we had that long-term sub, and you and I would always sit in the corner making jokes and stuff. And she was a strict teacher, but with us, she always thought it was hilarious, and she said that we were going to be the next Laurel and Hardy. And
oh, I
so from that
remember
moment,
that. Dude, yeah. I remember that sub. Holy crap. Man,
mhm.
I haven't thought about that ever.
Really, man, yeah, I
Yeah,
think about that
that's
a lot,
crazy.
honestly, because I was like, that was kind of changing point for us. Because middle school, goofing off, just having fun. I feel like ninth grade was the same way. We're just having fun, enjoying life as kids and stuff. And when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, we are kind of
Yeah,
funny. Like, what could we do with this? Wasn't until a
yeah.
year later, but
Yeah, okay, make me feel like shit, Rob. I forgot about that moment.
I'm not making you feel like shit, bro. But I'm
No,
just
no, no,
saying
no.
it's a big moment,
No.
and you should have remembered. But that's okay. Cool. Before we started like doing films and videos and things like that. Like, what do you remember about the beginning there?
I just remember like the middle school fall fest where I came in a hot pink tee or hot pink polo, and then like we thought we were the shit, dude. We
Yep.
I remember us going over to take the picture, and we had a different friend group then, but I remember us going to take the picture and just being like all hot and sweaty and being like, "Oh my god, we're having so much fun."
Not a
And
female in
then you
sight.
guys were like, Lou, we'll pick you up." And
Yeah.
because everybody was doing like that pose in middle school. Everybody does that pose in middle school.
Yep. Yeah. So, what are your favorite like beginning high school memories? And yeah, before we start getting into video content.
Before we started getting into video content, Rob,
Hmm.
our whole friendship is based on video content, dude. I don't
I know.
know. I guess our ninth grade year was when I introduced you to like my Warwick friends from church or whatever. And so then we
Mhm.
started having like bonfires, Friday night football nights, and just hangouts in your basement. We had a couple New Year's Eve parties there. Man, those are fun times. But don't ever play pool with Rob because it's not fun. He creates his own rules, and it's kind of like when they came to play basketball with me. I created my own rules so they could never win. Yeah, before film, we kind of we kind of just were chilling out, just having a good time. And honestly, it was kind of good for our friendship too because we got to know each other better and like we just got to build off of our friendship and we had
Chemistry, camaraderie.
yeah, chemistry. Like we got a lot closer then and that kind of pushed us into the great comedy into our Rob Productions films and
Mhm.
being on set with each other.
And then before we get into film, what did you think you were going to do with your life at that point? Before you thought about film and that career?
Yeah, before I thought about film, man, I was just thinking about like going to Stevens for some kind of trade or um going in for accounting or something because I was good at math at the time. So I was like, well, I'm good at math. I guess I can do this if I want. Uh so that's kind of where I was at that point. What about you?
Mhm. Well, in middle school, I really wanted to do military stuff because it was in my family, but I was really skinny and stuff, so I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do that and everything. So once I got to high school, same way, I was kind of good at math, so I was like, I guess I'll go the business routes. But I hated thinking that, but I had no other ideas. And then we get to film, and then it opens up new pathways for us. So we'll just get into our first film class together, really, which is Stuck in the Middle. Was our first short film for our film class in high school, and essentially what that was is we had to come up and pitch ideas, and mine was one of the ones that got pitched, and it's just this short film idea that we heard from a friend about wanting to do a bike ride date, and we thought that was kind of a weird premise. So then we built a story around that. So it's kind of a simple story, but funny, and so I think people realize we can make it. So
Yeah.
and then obviously you're the main character. So tell me how you liked being in that movie, and kind of your real first taste of acting.
Well, it was definitely a lot more freeing than it is now because, I didn't really realize what goes into acting and what goes into all the emotions behind everything, behind every word. And, I was just kind of doing dumb shit and you would let me because we didn't really know what we were doing. And so I remember like one of the times on set, we were just goofing off pretty much because that's basically all we did. And
All right.
it was on the bike ride scene actually. And I remember just one take. it was like it might have been like a practice shot or something, and you were recording it to make sure everything worked or whatever. And I turn around and I say the line, yeah, and you're like, and you start bursting out laughing, and you were like, do that in the movie.
It was
And I
just
was
one of
like,
those
all right,
things, man. Yeah,
yeah,
when we did funny stuff, I'd say let's put it in, and yeah, you're right. It was more freeing and everything. Yeah,
yeah,
one of those
yeah,
funny
yeah,
things to look back on and see where it
yeah.
came from. But
And
that was also
we needed that.
yeah, you're right. That was also our first test of showing it in front of a bunch of people because we had to present. Not only did we have to make that film for class, but we had to present it in our auditorium in front of probably 100 people or so. Not a crazy
Yeah.
amount, but for a class project, even showing it in front of 25 people, you get kind of nervous. So to show it in front of 100 people, it was kind of nerve wracking. And it was three other film or two other films, so three total. The other two were more horror films. So to have our comedy up there and get to hear people laughing, the other films were good too, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to hear people laughing, because when you see a horror film, people might scream or jump a little bit, but there's not real reaction. But when laughter, that's the purest reaction. So once you hear
Mhm.
people laughing at your work, and for me at least, hearing that, oh, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm not sure how, but I definitely want to stay within this realm. You as an actor, seeing yourself on the screen and hearing people's reaction, what was that like?
Man, it's gonna sound it's gonna sound like cocky, but I don't mean it in a cocky way. Dude, it just makes you feel really good about yourself, when you make someone laugh. And, when we first started making people laugh on Stuck in the Middle, and people were actually laughing, man, that was a really good feeling. And I was like, damn, I might be able to make people laugh for a living.
hmm And then after that summer we started talking about film ideas nonstop. Even if we weren't filming, we'd be shooting basketball on your court, and we'd be having talks about, you know, Ben Affleck and fuck,
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Did yeah, I forgot his name for a second, but yeah, how they were able to write Good Will Hunting. I almost said Will Hunting, um, but yeah, we'd just be shooting basketball and like talk about how they made Good Will Hunting and things like that. And we're like, we could do that kind of stuff and just kind of have dreams at that point. And then we made Uncool and a bunch of funny videos. And so that was a fun time making those kind of funny videos. What were your thoughts on Uncool and then our other funny videos like trick shots and that kind of stuff?
Oh, dude, the trick shots video was hilarious in the moment, and it still actually is. Like, the ending still gets me, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I love that video. And Uncool, that's a classic. I love Uncool.
hmm
And, like, the funniest part for me is when we're sitting on the couch and it's in times 2 speed, and we're chewing on our donuts like this.
yeah.
And, like, once we made those, like, kinda everybody kinda got behind us and, like, started supporting
Mhm.
us, and that was really cool.
Yeah, so after we made Uncool and a few funny videos, then we started doing some more funny stuff. So we did the lip sync battle on the
Oh,
talent show.
And all you ever hear me say is how I picture me with you. That's all you ever hear me say. But since you've been gone, I wish I knew how to break the spell. At least I'm gonna say that I tried. Really can't stay. It's cold outside.
And that's like what really like, because I remember after the talent show, you and I were at our lockers and everyone was still in the auditorium, and we're like, all right, let's go back to your house so we can start playing Xbox and stuff because school's about to end. And people were somehow leaving the auditorium, coming up to us and be like, that was hilarious. People, I wasn't like that popular. Like I think a lot of people knew who you were, and people may have known of me, but like it was kind of cool to have people be like, yo, you guys were hilarious. So
Yeah, dude, that kind of then people kind of like thought like, hey, these guys are funny. And then, we hosted the talent show, and I remember you were like, "Hey, Lou, come over. I got the script. I got the script all out." And I just remember coming over. I'm like, "Yeah, this is funny, man." And then just doing it, and shit was funny.
I remember having ideas and then you coming over and being like, yeah, let's do all of them. So we put them all in our script because we were going to host a talent show. So we have all these ideas and we had to present them before we host. And we're like, well, let's go big or go home. So we had like a few edgy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think we had like a nutcracker joke because it was Christmas time and it had
Yep.
to do with like me doing a split and going wrong. So like nothing crazy.
And like
But
Santa's bag of toys.
yeah, we really went over the top. And so I can see why administration said no for that. So we had to come up with a more school appropriate script. But then we were on the morning announcements, and I think our junior year, we really try to make that funny and everything. And we were
Oh,
pretty good anchors, I'd say.
dude, we had a fantastic time.
Mhm.
Holy.
I think the best part about it is that we would keep our bloopers in there, so it would feel natural, and would be able to see our process. If I had messed up on a word, leave it in there.
Yep.
If KP was scrolling on the teleprompter too fast, you'd call him out, like slow it down. People would just start laughing because it's natural.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that kind of like depicts who we are as people too, because it's like, dude, we want to make everything fun. So we literally turned the boring ass announcements and we turned it into something awesome.
hmm
And that for me was incredible.
I think
Yeah.
with that, and we went to Atlanta to compete in a STN competition, which is a national film and TV competition. And as a
Which
group,
where I reside now in Atlanta.
yes, Lou is in Atlanta, and we'll get into that a little bit in the show then. But yeah, so we went to STN, we went to Atlanta. We had a film competition that we wound up coming in fourth place for, so it was pretty cool out of 50 or plus schools from around the country. A lot of big California production schools that their high schools are literally for film and video. Beat those. But Charles is the man. Talking about that early film stuff with our first film Stuck in the Middle and some of the funny videos. All that is credit to Charles, or otherwise known as Mr. Charles, otherwise known as Seaman, otherwise known as the
Man.
Goat. But yeah, man, he opened a lot of doors for us. So good shout out for Charles. Yeah, so we were kind of the funny guys after our short films, videos, being on the announcements. And so we were kind of getting referenced as the funny guys. And I don't know, me personally, I was like, I don't want to just be known as the funny guys. I wanted to take another step forward. And so that's when we started writing our crew series, which is kind of like a mob series that we did. And that's one of those that you were talking about earlier, where you look back and you kind of laugh at, like, you know, because picturing us as
Not for me, Rob.
mobsters. Okay, let me
Well,
restart that.
okay, yeah, that part. Yeah, I get that.
But from cinematography to acting, we all took a major jump in that film. even though
Yep.
we were trained mobsters and everything. So that, I mean, looking back on that is kind of the funny part. But the acting and the cinematography and just the production value, taking a step from our funny videos, that's when I think we're like, well, like we can do more than just create funny videos.
Dude, the Crew, like, I love going back to watch The Crew and The Crew 2 because, like, they're actually good and there's good cinematography, it's good writing, it's good acting, like, from everybody in that film, and, like, it's just a pretty good short film. Like, for what we did at our age, that's pretty freaking good, and, like,
Mhm.
I honestly will stand by that film 'cause I'm, like, extremely proud of those films. I love those films. Like, my brother
Okay.
Kane just went back and watched The Crew again, and he's like, "Dude, this is actually good." And I'm like, "Coming from Kane, that's a big deal."
Yep. The biggest critic out there, man. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, man. Yeah, for that age, yeah, I think you're right. We definitely took a step forward, and those are cool to look back on and be on. Like that was our second year in film and video production. So yeah, you're right. It was pretty cool. And I remember we submitted to our first film festival then, and besides their national competition. So
Yeah.
we were like, okay, this is gonna win all the high school awards. Like this is gonna be crazy. I remember shooting basketball with you, and we're like, what are we gonna do with the prize money and everything? Because we had watched their winner from last year, and I remember it was shot on an iPhone, this
Oh,
little room, and it was just, I don't know, like not to hate or anything, but like it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, we have actual cameras, we have shotgun mics and everything. So I'm
yeah.
like, okay, we definitely took a step forward. And we
And I
didn't win. We didn't even get into the festival. And so that was a humbling moment, I think, for me. And
it
I
was
mean, being the
definitely
one who submitted, I don't know how you felt.
probably more humbling for you, because you were dealing with all that stuff, and, like, honestly, I forgot we got rejected from that. Um,
Dude, I still have the rejection email. So
really?
yeah, gotta have motivation, man.
That's
So
fantastic. You should send that to me because 'cause I'd actually like to read that.
yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, that was probably definitely really humbling for you, because, that's when you started to work harder as a director, and that's, like, when you would start to work with us more because before The Crew, it was just kinda us just kinda freeballing it, we were sticking to the script kinda, um, improvising some, but The Crew, you kinda actually took a huge step forward, started working with the actors and, like, getting it to how the director wants it to be, and that's when you kinda started to be a director, and, that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember getting that rejection email and thinking, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. There's favoritism and everything. Like we were way better than last year's film. How does this not even get in? But then actually reading the critiques and stuff, um, you know, you're right. It definitely did humble me. There was notes about not having enough reaction shots, and so now from that point forward, I make sure to have a lot more reaction shots to lines of dialogue. So just stuff like that. But it also taught me not to take festivals as seriously because so many people would come up to us just when we would be walking to basketball courts and stuff, and they would say, "Wow, that was amazing. My heart was racing during the police scene at the
The
end.
police scene, yeah.
Yeah, and what a great story and great acting, guys." And so getting rejected, I think, kind of took a little part of that away where I was so focused on the festival that I was like, we made a good film and we should be proud of it. And so,
At that point, we were just making it pretty much for the people, we weren't doing it for us. We just kinda wanted to just entertain the people.
mhm.
And actually, Rob, I do remember, I think we did sit down and watch that dumbass video, Who Won Last Year. I think we did actually sit down and watch that together. I
Yeah,
actually
because I think I
remember.
was really mad.
Yeah, and you were like, "Look at this piece of shit," and I was like,
Yeah.
"He sucks. That video sucked."
Yeah, you're like, this sucks. Let's go to Turkey Hill and get a slushie. I'm like, no, dude, we have to watch it again. See how bad it is.
I need my chocolate milk, man.
You'll get your chocolate milk where we critique this film. Yeah, and then we did The Crew 2 as a part of that series, which I think was another step forward. Even just our jump from the first one to the second one, you can see the production value and everything go up that way too.
I wanted to mention too, The Crew was kind of a step up for Rob Productions as well, because like, dude, that's when we got like other people in our films, like not just me, you, and Jack. That's like when we got Stefan and Joseph.
At what point did you realize you wanted to do acting as a career and for a living?
Uh, man, it was like summer going into senior year, and I still didn't know. We made The Crew. We were making The Crew 2. I was like, I'm having a blast. I didn't even think I could make this a career yet. And then like fall came around and KP started looking at the SCAD, and Mr. Charles gave him the book, and like I looked through it too, and it had like a performing arts in there. And I was like, oh shit, I might have to check this out, because I was also looking at Temple. And so in the fall there, that's kind of when it switched for me. That's when I quit basketball to do the fall play so I could do the fall play. And that's kind of when it turned into reality for me. Um, that's kind of when it switched into a different gear. And I was like, all right, this is what I want to do for a living.
Nice. And then talk about the fall play too, because doing a fall play, bigger production, not on camera. Talk about the differences with that and what you thought about that.
Dude, the fall play was so much fun. The the great part about the fall play was getting to spend that amount of time with a group of people. You really just get to know them, and it's just a lot of fun, um, getting to know people. And so that's kind of what was different about that. And also, like, you can't fuck up.
Mhm.
You screwed up, you're done. And I actually, in the rehearsals, I remember fucking up that day.
Mm.
Um, it's because the director walked in my line of vision, and then I like forgot my line, and he was like, "Do you know where you're at?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, just start from the last line." And then,
Mhm.
and then we just kept going. But I actually like forgot my line, and that was like, "Oh shit," because
Yeah.
you can't fuck up. But plays are so much fun. I love plays, and it was also kind of reassuring for me, um, because hearing great things from another director, and
Mhm.
not just from you, or
Mhm.
from my family. Hearing great things from him also was reassuring for me to really take this on as a career, because he told me that I should have been doing this my whole all 4 years, and who knows where I would be uh, at senior year at that point. And that's when
Mhm.
I won best supporting actor in the play in my first time
Yeah,
doing
dude.
it.
And when you're on stage, are you thinking like at all like what's my next line? Or are you kind of going with the flow? Or are you aware of your surroundings with the audience and anything? Or are you trying to really clear that out?
Um, you always got to be aware of the audience. The audience is there. That's the fourth wall. So you always got to be aware of the audience. But I was I didn't know that then. So I definitely tried to block that out. I definitely blocked it out. Yeah, dude, when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking like what's my next line? Like we were rehearsing that for like 8 weeks, 2 months, 6 weeks or something like that. So like I was doing this every single day. Well, not
Mhm.
every single day. It was like 3 times a week or something. And so, like, these lines came like that to me. It was just
Mhm.
it was super easy. And the great part about it is when you do that, when you basically just know what you're gonna say, is you can then play with the different things you can do on stage. Like, my when I got out on stage, I did like totally different things than what I did in rehearsal. Well, not totally different, but like I made them, I exaggerated them, and
Right.
uh, yeah, and that was really fun. Like,
Yeah, I think your fall play experience was a lot different than mine when I did it my sophomore year.
oh yeah, dude,
Yeah,
you were
because
the
at that point,
freaking, you were the speaker.
yeah. So at that point, I wasn't in any activities. So my mom's like, "You're gonna need the activities if you got to put it on a college application." So that's when I did golf league. And I was like,
Oh
"Okay,
yeah.
I'm okay at golf. There can't be that many good people." I was on JV in golf, which I didn't even know you could do. So and I hated it. I remember coming home from the first day and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my mom's like, you're not Tiger Woods, chill out. And so somehow I think
Coached by my uncle.
yep, he gave me the old swing the hips trick, which still
And
trying to figure out to this day.
for some reason, Rob still shoots a 110.
Yep, on a good day. But yeah, so I joined the golf team and then I also tried out for the fall play. And yeah, the audition I didn't think was going that well. You just because you audition with the director in front of everyone else. Is that the
Yeah.
way yours was? Yeah. So I was going back and forth with them. He was a female line, I was a male line, and he was just kind of mumbling his words. So I'm like, okay, he doesn't like this at all. And the one time he completely forgot his line, so I was just standing up there awkwardly. So I said his line with like a funny high pitched voice as the female, and then kept going, and everyone started laughing. So I think that's actually how I got the role as the moderator because I had to have a weird voice for that, like
Wow.
southern kind of voice. So I
Yeah.
think that's how I got that. But yeah, I didn't like mine at all. For my dress rehearsal, they didn't have the right size pants. And so we had we had to rehearse for the newspaper. So I'm down there, they're trying to tighten my pants on me, and I hear, Bobby, Bobby. And I was like, oh crap. So I run up there with loose pants like this. And I'm stumbling up stage with loose pants. And I delivered my line. It was awful. I didn't do the
Wow.
play again.
I
But
forgot.
anyways, so
I forgot you did that. And I don't think you ever told me that part about the first part.
hmm. Yeah,
That's
I try to
crazy.
block out that fall play experience. So you start getting serious about it, acting, fall semester, you did the play, kind of reconfirmed it. And then we had a film competition in Los Angeles, Anaheim area for that national high school competition. And we put together a really funny piece. It was a sitcom pilot competition. You have 8 hours to write, shoot, and edit. And then we wound up winning the competition and coming in first. So I think, again, that was a surreal experience. I know we talked about this a little bit on your previous podcast, but
Yeah.
again, like, what was kind of your feelings with that and everything, being a small town school and winning a big competition like that?
Dude, that was nuts. Still, it's like one of those times. It's like one of those times in your life where it's like it like felt like a dream, you know? Like
Mm.
right after I had my first kiss, like I felt like it felt like I was floating on air walking to the bus. Like it just felt like a fever dream. Like I
That's
don't
how yours felt? Mine was a sad car ride home, but
You were crying. You were crying.
I was like, ah, put on the
But
Goofy Dolls. Nothing a little Oreo Speedwagon can't fix.
I just can see you. I just can see you now. Take it on the run, baby. That's the way you want it.
Driving past the cornfields. Yeah, man.
But yeah, dude, that moment was, well. First off, they said Mannheim, so we were confused. And then but we saw Mannheim on the screen, so we were like, "Oh!" And then
Right.
we John, of course, Mr. Charles was like, "Go, go, go! Get up there! Get up there!" And uh,
I
oh, dude,
look and you're already out of the aisle. I was like, oh crap, gotta go catch up. You were
dude,
floating
yeah,
on that
I
cloud.
remember looking to my right and just like see like all of our reactions were the same. We had no chance.
Mhm.
We saw fifth place go. We were like, maybe four, maybe four.
Yeah.
We
Right,
saw
right.
four go, and we're like, all right, this isn't our year. We made something good. Third place goes. We're like, okay, this is done.
Mm,
We're not winning. Second place goes. We're like, shit. All right. Well, we
right.
had fun. We still have our separate projects. Maybe we can win something on. And then when they call our names, dude, I just love seeing the reaction of down the row, all of us just like standing up at the same exact time after a pause and just going,
Hmm.
"Oh!" Like
Right.
that was nuts, man. We had no idea we were going to win that. And
Hmm.
just the feeling of seeing us on the big screen was like, man, this this is it.
Yeah, definitely. I know it was about 5 or 6 years ago now, so people are probably thinking, that's a long time ago for an award, and there's some validity to that, but still, to win a
Yeah.
national award like that, I don't think people realize how big of a competition this was. This was people had student sections there. This was like Friday night football type stuff. People had flags that they would wave. They would have chants for their schools. Their schools would literally fund their schools through film production, and we had all these big schools to go against. So
Yeah.
I feel like that is a big award and something I hope that everyone involved in that project remembers because that is a huge deal. But yeah, so then we won first place, came back, and then had to get ready for college. I went to Penn State. You and KP went to SCAD in Georgia. Jack went to Thaddeus Stevens. And then Joseph went to New York, and then he eventually went to Florida. Then Stefan, I think he went to the Navy. I know he went to the military. I'm pretty sure it was the Navy. But yeah, so we all kind of did our own separate thing, which for the last 2 years we had been making films nonstop together and videos. So it was pretty different. How was your college experience? Being away from everyone, and then your college films and working on those projects while at SCAD.
Well, it was certainly easier to be outside of the state with, KP, um, which brought me and KP even closer. And I learned so much from him too, from editing to lighting. But yeah, the I remember my first college film ever. It was so brutal. It was because it was like all freshmen, so we all kind of don't know what to do. I auditioned in museum courtyard outside. Like it
Mm,
it was I sat down at a couch with the other people on two chairs, like lounge chairs, and I sat there and I read the script. It was like it was so unprofessional, and like it honestly was like a step back from Raw Productions for a second. And I was like, shit. Like after that movie, I was like, shit, am I really gonna do this? And then things got better, things picked up,
hmm
and you meet better people, and everybody obviously just keeps growing and evolving in their craft. So things got more professional. Things started clicking on set. Things got smoother on set. There wasn't like where you had to go run out and get something. They already had it there. It
hmm
wasn't anything like that. Um,
hmm
what do you remember your first set at Penn State?
Yeah, so my first official set, I volunteered to be an extra in a scene for a senior project.
Oh
And
shit.
so that actually was a cool experience because they had all kinds of equipment, um, crazy camera setups and everything. So I got to see firsthand what I can expect senior year. So that was cool. Um, and then I guess for my first film projects, they were mostly just film projects. We didn't really get to do like a short film besides helping out on people's as PAs and stuff. So like I didn't really get to direct a college short film till junior year. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
but
really?
it was cool. Yeah, because senior freshman and sophomore year, it's a lot of gen eds and then PA on set. So I got a lot of cool experience, and then it kind of shows you where you can go from there, I guess.
That was probably good though. You got to
Hmm.
try out some other things. I
Yeah.
PA'd once, a couple times. I PA'd. I love
Mm.
PAing, dude. I lift the sandbags up, man. I put them over my shoulder. I put 2 of them, and the old ladies are like, "Wow, big strong man," and I'm like, "You got it."
So for someone who's thinking about going into acting school or studying acting, what should they expect going to either SCAD or probably a similar performing arts school?
Expect a lot of work, and don't expect your professors to cut you some slack. They won't. I was in a classroom once, maybe my sophomore year, and it was kind of that. It was kind of like I was kind of still at the point where I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was still like trying to live the college life, have a good time, go out with friends. So I really wasn't into my craft as much as I am now. Um, but sophomore year, I we had to come with our monologues on the second day, come with 2 monologues, and the one guy just did not prepare. Like, he didn't prepare enough, and so he kept stumbling over the words and, kept forgetting his lines, and, like, the professor, like, straight up asked him, he's like, "Do you wanna do this for a living?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Then you better get your ass prepared." Like, he went off on him for like a full 2 or 3 minutes in front of everybody. And I
Wow.
felt bad I felt bad for the guy. But
Mm.
like that's kind of when I changed like how I went about things. I was like, "Oh, damn, I cannot be that guy. I
Mm.
have to prepare. I have to I have to do everything I can to make sure I know every question that they're gonna ask me about my character." And that that was embarrassing.
It's a good learning experience, though.
Yeah,
If you want to take it seriously in a competitive field, you got to be prepared. So,
you have to do stuff daily. Yeah, you have to.
mhm.
And, if you don't, you're probably already behind.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So, what are some of your favorite experiences, or if there's one in particular about being on a college set? Maybe another step you took as an actor, or maybe a particular film you're proud of, um, or a role you're proud of. Anything you can think of like that?
Um, I would say the most proud of myself I was, during my college experience was being on Council of Dads, the NBC show. Like, putting myself out there, and just going to be an extra in whatever was filming in Savannah. Uh, I was really nervous to do it. I was like, I can't be in a big set like this yet." But I did it, and then, like, when they asked, they were like, "Who wants to lead the way in the shot?" I was like, "Me, sure, I'll do it." And then I led the way in the shot, and guess who got a little bit of airtime? This guy. uh, you can see me in the background, just walking in the background. Um, but that's probably the best experience I've had. And I even like reached out and started talking to other people there. So I've made connections there, which I was really proud of as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, flip side of that, was there a dark time or just something you regret about a college film, or maybe even just in general, something you wish you did more of? If you could go back, what's something you could change or something that you wish you didn't do?
I wish I could go back and work harder my freshman and sophomore year. Because junior and senior year I worked the hardest. But yeah, I wish I would have worked harder freshman and sophomore year. But you get to college and you're like, this is my time to fuck around. But then, like, in this business, you're like, you got to take this shit kind of seriously though, because it's not something
Hmm.
people are just gonna hand you. So you gotta,
Right.
yeah, you gotta be freaking ready.
So college, we were separated, and then after college, we got back together for the kids. I don't know why I said it
I
like that,
was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. Oh my
but no,
gosh.
like we were apart. So you and KP were in Georgia.
Yeah.
I was up at State College, and Jack was, in Lancaster at Thaddeus Stevens. But summer and fall breaks, and winter breaks, I should say, we'd get back together and we do a film. So I think Uncool 2 was like our one back, and at that point, I think we were like, "Yo, let's do something kind of throwback to our early comedy days at the beginning of high school, and then with a little bit better production value." We're still
Yep.
working with DSLRs and stuff because these are passion projects, so the budgets are strictly ours. We don't have college or school funding, anything like that. So,
And yeah, that's one of my favorites to look back and watch and
mhm,
like to remember the moments too and watch the gag reels and shit. That
mhm.
shit's that shit's fun.
I think the bloopers of that's my favorite too because we got to do comedy again, and so to see you and Jack doing pranks and just us in general laughing, I think it was a lot of fun. So, all right, so hazards. I got a new camera that we wanted to test out, and we didn't have a lot of time that winter break. I remember. I think we had like 2 days. So we wanted to test it out and shoot something quick. So we did Hazards, which I think was a cool film, and got to experiment with different type of narrative storytelling. And then I think Family Business was another. I'd say it's another step for us. Production value wise, we're still working with DSLRs and not a lot of lights and everything. But if you look at that from our cruise series, you can see the production value. I think just from what we learned at film school, and obviously you got more experience acting, I think you can still see the value went up, even though we didn't have as much equipment in film school.
Yeah, and that was also Jack's breakout role. Family
Yeah.
family business, not hazards.
Hmm.
That was Jack's
Oh,
breakout role. Tell him I said that.
okay. Jack, who said failing business your breakout role? No, Jack was for not being a actor, he's always been really good in Raw Productions films. But you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did like go crazy in that film. So
he did go hard.
yeah.
He got hard with me.
Hmm.
These films were like they were like the dark version of Raw Productions.
I didn't think about it that way, but I think you're right because Uncool 2 was kind of a fun film of us getting back together after college. And then yeah, Hazards was more thriller, psychological, and
Yeah,
then Family Business, obviously crime and drama, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
and especially with like the endings of those films, it's like you don't have a good feeling like you do at the end of the other ones.
Hmm. And then we did Last Night. And before we get into the Last Night, which has been the last Raw Productions film with the original cast and crew so far, um, we wanted to do a feature film that summer. We didn't know how we were going to do
Oh,
it. It was going to be a simple idea. I think the idea was called Cloud 9, where it was about
Yep.
just a rap band kind of group that so it'd be you, me, Jack, and it was basically a comedy trying to figure it out, and then members of the group wanting to move on with their lives, and the one member trying to keep it together. So it wasn't going to be anything complicated. We thought we'd be able to do it, and then we got hit with COVID, and that's when we realized it's going to be super difficult. And
Oh, was that the COVID summer?
mm-hmm.
I thought that was 2019.
No. No, I'm trying to think about it because we started in the winter. We had the ideas, and then I was like, maybe we can start writing something, but we didn't even get to it because COVID happened and didn't have another meeting. And then we were like, it's not possible.
Yeah, it's just, to be honest, looking back on it now, there's just no way we would have got it done.
Yeah, we would have been filming every day, nonstop, which I probably could have done. I'm sure you probably would have done it. I
I
know you
maybe
do
would have,
I
but
do know like your time away to kind of be yourself and relax, get out your acting element, actors have to do that kind of thing. I don't know if Jack would have wanted to film every single day. I know for
No
sure he
shot.
would have.
Yeah, that's when he got a full-time job, and so like we just would have
Yeah.
had no time.
Mhm. Yeah, we would have had no time, but it was a good idea. It was a good effort.
It
But
was.
but then we had to come up with a summer film idea.
But you never know what could come in the future. Summer. Yep.
Should we announce it? Summer
Coming 2024.
Could you imagine if Jack quit his job to film that?
Dude, once we're big enough, he will.
Yep.
He'll be our Kevin James.
You think?
Mm-hmm. Or the Chris Rock. Chris Rock.
Nah, I think you're Chris Rock.
No, I'm David Spade. Rob, think about it. 5'7", he's 5'7".
Yeah, but I feel like, yeah, I guess. Who would I be? Sandler?
Yeah, you're Sandler.
Like, I could see KP being Kevin James.
Oh yeah. No, he'd be what's his face? Nick
Miller.
No. Who's the blonde guy that is always in there?
Mm.
Like the side character. Do you know his name off the top of your head?
Owen Wilson.
Yeah, Owen Wilson.
And then for our last film with the original cast and crew of Raw Productions, we did the last night during the COVID year. And I knew this was probably going to be the last one, at least for a while. And so I wanted to do something symbolic of that, of it being the last of something. And I knew I wanted the idea of two guys being together and having it be their last night, but I didn't know how to make a story around that. So then we had a production meeting on my back deck because it was COVID, so we had to be outside.
Yeah.
And we just started spewing ideas for about 3 hours, I think it was. So do you remember some of the other ideas we had?
That was a fun night. I don't really remember some of our dumb ideas, but it was good
Yeah.
it was good to just stick with our brand.
Yeah. And definitely a little shout out to Jack here because he's the one who came up with the idea of what about their drinking to keep the night going and then they just run out of drinks. So that was a big part of the film. And so
Yep.
we were able to incorporate that. And then I remember in the first version of the script, I kind of wrote it as our uncool days where it was more just a funny, fun kind of night and then them having to come to terms with it. And then I remember sending you the script and you're like, this is funny, but I feel like nothing really happens, I think there's needs more tension. So then that's where I incorporated your character to not want to be there and ready to get on with his life in LA, and the other character
Yeah. Yeah.
dragon. And then I knew I wanted to somehow incorporate a montage thing, and you said, Rob, I have all these old photos if you want them. And so I think incorporating that into the nostalgia of the already idea of it, yeah, I don't know.
That
I think
was
that's our best.
You think that's
I
our
mean,
best film?
just from what people said about how relatable it is, and people texting me like, "Yo, dude, this like hard." And remember, we had a few people text us saying I was crying because it like made me think of friends that I had to say
Yeah.
goodbye to. I never heard that,
Yeah,
so
that
that's when
was
I was
nuts.
like, that's when you know you're hitting hard with the audience.
Yeah.
And we shot that all in one night. And if you want to talk about that,
Had a
how that was.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the last night is that you didn't think about the dialogue that much. You like talked to me a lot about the dialogue. Like, what would you say here? And I would tell you, and then you would put it in the script because this was kind of like our most natural dialogue script. Like the dialogue made sense. It was very natural for us to have a conversation and for me wanting to leave, and all that was uh, like really natural. And hats off to you for going to your actors to kind of get an idea of what they'd say in the moment, uh, and
Mhm.
just and obviously relating it to us.
But yeah, so we filmed that all in one night. Towards the, I when did you start getting tired? I think when 1:30 hit, I was like, oh shit, this is this is getting late, and we still got a good amount to film, but we pushed through.
I remember sitting in that chair. It might have been in that moment, sitting in that chair, uh, doing that scene, and
Hmm.
I'm just gonna give give whatever happens right now, give whatever I'm feeling, because
Right.
because that's probably how it would have been.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
That's
fucking
kind of what your character is doing.
yeah. It's late at
Hmm.
night. You got to get up early. You're dreading it, so it's like that's how he's gonna be.
But yeah, to see the reaction to people thinking that's relatable, I think that was a good film to end on. What do you think?
Fantastic film to end on. But for me, I don't want it to end. Um,
And
I
that's why
mean,
we're announcing
what was I
we have
saying?
Jack's 2 week notice right here.
He's gonna quit and start our film company with us.
Yep.
Um,
Little Tree Productions.
yeah.
What was the idea you guys had? Like small town production?
Oh my
Tinseltown
gosh, what? Yeah, like little town.
Productions.
Yeah, something like that. Oh my god.
You know those claymation Christmas movies? That's what that makes me think of. Hmm. So I think we finished the last night and we went to Jack's, and it was kind of emotional because it was the last one. It was deep.
Okay.
Heavy.
Yeah.
So we so I played the film and we're like, oh shit, like that was dope, and that was the end.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Rob, surprise for you after all these years, and damn, you hit us with one of the heaviest videos of like all of our memories, and you got people to talk about Raw Productions. And if you haven't seen the video, definitely check it out. What was it like making that video, showing all of our films over time?
Yeah, dude, that was a lot of fun. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I teared up a few times making that video because I just wanted to show everybody what the last 5 years was like of making stuff, having all this fun, and launching our careers, and just being together and making raw production stuff, man. It was all about saying thank you to you for starting this shit.
Yeah, dude, that was definitely a highlight in seeing that and looking at some of the videos we made, and it's crazy to show like
Did
it's
you?
kind of a timeline of our friendship too.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the real world, man. So senior year of college, we were both looking at LA because spring semester I was supposed to go out there for an internship, but that got canceled due to COVID. Um, but we're still thinking about going out to LA. Didn't really know how it would work. We look at apartments and stuff and say, this one looks pretty cheap, but
Yeah.
had no idea if it would be good or not.
Yeah.
So we were trying to figure it out. So what were your thoughts senior year with the possibility of moving to LA? I know you had Atlanta in the back of your mind too, because you'd bring it up a few times. So what was your kind of thought process senior year going into the real world and acting?
Yeah, dude. Senior year going into the real world, I was all about dreaming big. And so, like, when I said LA, like, I meant it. Like, I wanted to go there. I wanted to go big or go home. Like, if I was going to fail, I wanted to be out there in LA. But once we started, you know, looking and the the chances of us ever getting out there, like, to check out a place is was just so slim, and it just looked even more like less of a chance it was gonna happen. And, like, to be honest, I was upset about it because I really wanted to be out in LA. I really felt like that's where I was gonna flourish. But, you know, it didn't pan out, and yeah, I'm
Hmm.
kinda glad it didn't because to be there right now would be awful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive during, especially with all the inflation stuff. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I mean, probably same for you as an actor, but at least like in film school, when I'd ask professors about it, they'd say, "Yeah, you should definitely go out to LA. Like, I think it could be a good move for you." I was like, "All right, I think I should get a job first before I get out there because it's so expensive, right?" And
Yeah.
they would say, "You just kind of have to move. It's one of those things." And yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I was ready financially, maybe, you know, mentally prepared to make that move yet.
That's fair.
And I don't know if you felt the same way. But
I
just trying to risk. I know you said dream big, so maybe you're trying to risk it, but
Yeah, there was no shot I was gonna make it out there.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I remember you tried to get a UPS job out there or something, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but 15 bucks an hour out there is nothing.
Hmm. And I would apply for jobs. I'd be going on interviews nonstop out for jobs out there, and they'd always seem to be going so well. It built some chemistry with the interviewer, and then the last question they always hit, "So are you in LA?" And I had no connections out there, so it's not even like I could lie and be like, "Oh yeah, I have a place," or I would just have to,
Yeah, right.
"Yeah, I'm relocating. I can move within 2 weeks," that kind of thing. And
Yeah,
then so yeah, I think that was discouraging for me, at least personally. And then I think you and I, because we were hoping to room together, we're both like, how are we going to do this financially? I was that summer actually. I was supposed to help out a professor of mine. They were doing a feature film, and so I was supposed to help out on that. And it was just
oh,
weird
yeah.
for LA, so I had to wind up getting a job. And even with that, we both like we're not sure how that's going to be
Yeah,
affordable with no jobs out there. So it is pretty tough. So like you said, we were dreaming really big in the beginning of senior year, and I guess once it became a reality, it was kind of you have to adapt. And
yep,
then we started looking more towards Atlanta, which was kind of already on your eyes from being in Georgia already.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess at the beginning of our Atlanta pursuit, I still kind of had LA in the back of my mind because I remember we were talking about Atlanta and maybe we should go down there to tour some apartments. And then I saw this one guy from Penn State who works in the film industry in LA had a job posting for an assistant, and I was like, yo, shit, like maybe this could be our break. I was
Oh,
like, if
damn.
I can get a job there, like at least one of us has a job, and then
Yeah.
it'd be easier if at least one of us did. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that was a humbling experience to interview with that guy. It
Oh
basically
my
said
gosh.
that if you don't
Was
have
that the
rich,
yeah, was that the crazy
yeah,
guy?
I don't know if I'd call him crazy, but yeah, he's kind of your typical like stereotype LA person, where it's like I know people out in LA, like classmates and stuff, and I know it's not a true stereotype, but when you think of
Yeah.
LA people, he was like to a T. He was like, if you don't have rich parents, you're never gonna make it out here. And I was really thinking about that. Oh, I want to prove you wrong. I want to go out there. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm glad I didn't. I mean, but so then, and then I worked on a project in Pittsburgh for that Amazon show for that day,
Yeah.
but I had to be out here for a week. And that was the first taste of the film industry for me. I was a PA, and the other PA passed out and from working 6 days straight, 16-hour days. So
Yeah, that's nuts.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it, just because I saw this girl pass out, and literally one of my jobs was to take her to the hospital, and she was like, I don't ever see my family anymore. And I was like, holy shit. And then
Damn, I didn't know that.
yeah, and I was talking with some other PAs, and they were like, what else do you do? And I was like, well, I shot that fun music video over the summer. And I was like, yeah, I shot that. And they're like, oh my God, we haven't like shot any of our own projects in forever. I was like, really? Like, that's the
Honestly,
whole reason
that's
I got into film. Like,
yeah.
and it's kind of scary, I guess. And some of my other film friends in the industry, we talk about it, and just to move up a level or a rank, takes 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
and it's moving up one tier to key PA or maybe a coordinator. So it's just one of those things where it's like, do you want to go that route, or like, you know, I don't know. So I feel like
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure it out, and still kind of am, I guess. But I don't know. There's something about having a camera in my hand, and
Yeah, I was gonna say that probably like did that experience for you uh help you out as a director?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because it made me realize, like, I watched a Cole Bennett video, who's a music video director, and he was also in film school. And they told him, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to direct anything for at least 10 years." And he's like, "But I have all these ideas and stuff I want to get out there. I'm going to do that." And so he started making ideas into music videos and blew up from there. I was thinking, like, I don't know, I kind of wanted to do that as well. I do
Yeah.
want to be in the film industry in some aspect, but if you're never able to see your family and friends, I don't know. I think at the end of that journey, are you going to look back and think, damn, I kind of wish I saw them more? I don't know. It's one of those things that we have to deal with in our industry, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why LA was kind of a big deal for me, at least, because I had 3 graduations this past spring. So we would have already been out in LA, and I would have had to come back 3 times. And it's one of those things, I did not want to miss my family's graduation, because they've always been there for mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just going to be super expensive. And if I just wound up staying the 3 weekends or whatever out here, that's a lot of time off from work. And then you and me trying to make it work in an apartment. Share some
Yeah.
of our apartment ideas that we had. We are going to freaking split a studio and one bedroom
Yeah.
at one point.
Dude, we would have had like a fucking curtain up. Like we would have literally been in
We
a
would have been,
hospital.
we would have been snuggling.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, dude, our apartment searching in Atlanta was so much better. Cause honestly, like once I saw like the apartments we could have for that amount of money, it was like, oh dude, I'm living here. Like
Hmm.
once we started looking at these, I was like, oh, I'm living here.
Yeah. And that was right after we were like, all right, LA's done. Let's put all of our eggs into the Atlanta's
Yeah.
basket. And we went down there, got to stay with KP, who was gracious enough to let us stay with them. And damn, that
Gracious
was a
host.
fun, yeah, gracious host.
Best
But
week of my life.
So fun. Got
It's all
to see a lot of
it's all been
apartments.
downhill.
Nah, man.
Senior week, that week, and then my
Down.
life after that.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Well, we can talk about that. But I mean, nah, man, this is an honest conversation that we want to talk about the real world, and I feel like I've stayed off social media for a while since graduating because I've been trying to figure shit out. I think your podcast has been great to see your honest and openness, and if you haven't seen his podcast yet, definitely check it out, the Live Flu podcast.
Hey,
Um,
thanks, Rob.
yeah, you're welcome, dude. But it's way better than his last podcast, and nothing against your last podcast, but
Dude,
your last podcast was literally called the Real Talk Podcast, and I
yeah,
think you're more real now than you've ever been before.
yep.
And honestly, dude, like I haven't seen this side of you in our 10 years of friendship or whatever it is now. Like, you're open, you're honest about like what's going on, what's bringing you down, because our friendship has always been,
Goofing
revolved
off.
around comedy, goofing off, kind of, and we've had serious times and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think both of us going through this journey right now of trying to figure out the real world, I think, honestly, I think it's brought us closer together. And
I
um,
was gonna mention that earlier, Rob. I was
oh,
gonna mention that earlier because we were talking about our friendship or whatever, and then like I was gonna say like during college, it kind of died down. I'm not gonna lie to you because you know,
we're apart.
yeah, we were both doing our thing, and then after college, it's kind of been like we're best friends again, and it's been
Yeah, dude.
awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, we were together for the Atlanta week when we were touring apartments, and I mean, since then we've been in different cities and stuff, but just going through this struggle together, I think has brought us closer and trying to
Yeah, dude.
figure it out. So you were able to find a remote job before me. Remember? You got the
Yeah,
dental job.
I got the the dental care job
Mhm.
where I probably worked 30 minutes a day, and they thought I was the best employee of all time. Yeah, so I got it before you, and I
Mhm.
was
And
real antsy to get down here. So I was probably
definitely.
bothering the shit out of you.
So what time frame was that? When did you get that job?
Late October, maybe. I got that
Okay.
job.
Yeah, and I didn't hear about getting my job till mid-November, and I didn't start till December. I was like, "Do we want to go right before Christmas if we're going to be coming back here anyway?" And you're like,
Yeah.
and you convinced me. You're like, "Yeah, let's just do it. We'll come back." And I was like, "Okay, right?" Because we were going to go down. I think like December 8th or something was going to be our moving date or something, right?
Dude, it kept changing. I remember we
Yeah.
wanted to move in or well, I guess I convinced you to move in like middle of November. Well, I guess right after Thanksgiving, yeah,
Yeah.
because you wanted to be home for that, and so did I. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and then it changed to like beginning of December, and
Yeah.
then that didn't happen.
And so, yeah, so I got offered to direct the Born Center project that I've been working on, and
Oh
um,
yeah,
yeah, so that's why we couldn't move in together because I got offered that. I was like, it's a big opportunity, but it was one of those things where I was like, fuck, like it felt like finally we are gonna be able to move to Atlanta, and but I mean, you're super understanding about it because it was a tough text to send to be like, yo man, like I got this opportunity that like is one of those things that I'd hope to get in Atlanta.
yeah,
you
Rob.
know
I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty bummed when I got that, but
oh, I
because
bet.
because I wanted to live with you so bad, because like I
Hmm.
knew we would want to create all the time,
Yeah.
and so I that was like the selfish part of me being like, damn, we could have just been creating nonstop.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, I was bummed, but at the same time, I was like, damn, that's awesome. So I was like, man, That's awesome. Go do your thing. Like I would 100% tell you the same thing every
Yeah.
time. Just accept that shit.
Yeah, and I was like, when I saw that, I was like, damn, like, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting the text back to be like, congrats, period, or something like that. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And then when you're
I
like,
sent
that's
back a
awesome,
long-winded, man.
dude, you were like, that's awesome, dude. You should definitely take that. That sounds amazing. Like, congrats with, or like, good luck with everything. But I got to do that experience. It went from December to about March or so. And then, I mean, we're still in post production on that project right now, but I can
Are
do
you
that
still helping
anywhere.
with Are you still helping with that shit?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
editing. We're doing like revisions like all the time. That's why it's not getting released for a while. But
damn, that's sick.
yeah, we'll see where what it goes. But yeah, so I finished that project in March, and I was like, okay, now I can go down to Atlanta with Lou. You already got your place because you had no reason to be in Pennsylvania. You wanted to go do your thing. I remember when you told me that, I kind of felt the same way you felt with me, where it was like, shit, like he's about to go do his thing. Like, man, that I don't know. It's inspiring, and it's also like that's my friend going down there, taking on the
Yeah,
world. Like,
yeah,
and so when I wanted to move down in March, I had to look at one bedrooms because obviously we were gonna have to live separate at that point because you already had your place.
yeah.
And the price from freaking December to the end of March just skyrocketed, man. And I
It
was
changed.
like,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, mine is 1150. It's like 1250 with all the utilities and shit. So it is fucking tiring to pay the rent on this place, and
mhm.
with all the other expenses too. Um, it is tiring. So I don't blame you for going to choosing Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, your price, I was like, you told me what your price was at the end of March. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I could definitely make that work and we can live next to each other. I looked at the price and that price was for a small studio. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah,
and I could make it work in a studio, but they just didn't have like a lot of amenities and stuff. So utilities would have been even more expensive than yours. So I just couldn't make it work.
yeah. I mean the Hyundai gang just got in some car accidents,
Yep.
so that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really glad that the guy who rear-ended me is now saying that I was at fault. I don't know how when you're driving on the highway and someone rear ends your rear, but
That's nuts.
yeah, dude. It's just one thing after another in the real world. That's what most of our texts are about, or just laughing about shit that comes up.
So like I was here for like 3 months, just not doing much, just working and paying the bills,
Yeah.
and I was like, damn, dude, I feel shitty about myself more and more every day, and like you gotta kick yourself in the ass again to get that momentum going, because like it's easy to keep going when the momentum is going, but when you stop it and you slow down, it's hard to get it back up and
Yeah.
going. So it was tough when I first moved here.
Just talk about some of like the stuff you've been trying to do recently with your acting field. Obviously, job comes first and you have to pay bills and stuff. So, like you said, making time can be tough sometimes, but just talk about your acting field, some of the stuff you get to do at work, maybe with it, self tapes, things of that nature, now that you've been a year removed from acting school.
Yeah. Uh year removed. That's a long ass time. Damn. Um yeah, mainly like it's been pretty busy for me now that I'm like going constantly. Like I have more bills to pay, so I'm constantly working or acting. And like I just recently got an agent, so that's been booking me more auditions. Were you about to snap? Like the Zoom snap? You were about to
No,
do it and then you didn't.
no, bro, just keep telling your story, man.
uh
Fuck your agent. No, dude, that's awesome. I didn't know if you want to share that on the show, but
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
absolutely. I'll share
awesome.
it. Yeah, dude, it's been crazy. So I've been like auditioning like 4 or 5 times a week.
Mhm.
Um and like one of the hard things is that you will never get noticed unless you go the extra mile. So like now I'm currently going around to all the theaters and handing them my headshot and resume and saying, "Hey, if you have anything." And I just got an email. I'm so mad about it. I just got an email about a general audition for a theater, and when I clicked on the link, it was like it was like a day ago. I click on the link, and the signups are full for the auditions already. I'm like, mother.
Wow.
So you
Just that
gotta,
quick, that fast.
dude. Yeah,
Wow.
you gotta hustle. So uh, I'm proud of myself for hustling and uh, putting myself out there more. It's new
Well, you have to.
experiences. You meet random people and you have weird conversations. And the hardest part too is being a year removed from acting school is also like because I took a break there from acting for a while. So, you know, to 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 relearn what you've already done is kind of tough as well. Cause but it's also like you've also gained just like a naturalness to yourself also. Like you've gained a new perspective on how you go about things. And like when you take a break from that, you kind of look inward more on yourself and you're kind of like, oh, this is how I talk to people.
Mm,
And so um it kind of helps you too at the same time, but it's also kind of hard. So
yeah. And were you able to hustle a lot before getting this agent, or has it increased a lot, or been about the same?
it's definitely been more since I got the agent because like I want to prove that I'm good enough to be here. uh
Mhm.
like one of my fears is like what if you just said what if they just say one day, yeah, we don't want you anymore.
Just drop you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it like was it different for you like after you graduated? Was it like a different feeling for you? Like did you probably didn't want to take a break, but like it's different because like you're doing these things every single day for film, and then when you
Mhm.
graduate, you kind of have to do them yourself. Was that
Yeah.
like a different change for you?
Oh, definitely. Because in the summer and winter, we'd be able to do our fun passion projects. During our
Yeah.
semesters, we got to do bigger budget stuff. So we were constantly filming. I'd always be trying to learn new editing stuff on my laptop in my free time. And so when we were trying to figure out how to make it in LA and then Atlanta, we were so focused on location that I just missed out on an entire summer, fall, I guess kind of winner of filmmaking. And I think that was the hardest part is
Yeah.
just not being able to do it. And then luckily one of my friends was shooting a commercial and needed a DP and brought me on and doing that again. I was like, oh my God, I've missed this so much.
Yeah.
Like I just need to get back into it. And then a few weeks later, Born Sinner came. And then I was like, okay, so I know I want to get back into doing this grind of
Yeah.
filming stuff. So I was like, where can I do that the quickest without completely losing up money? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but
Eh,
yeah, definitely.
It's like this feeling where you want to do it so badly, but you can't right now.
Hmm.
And it's the weirdest it's the weirdest feeling.
Hmm. Yeah. How do you balance that? Because since you said you're getting more auditions and stuff now, it probably feels amazing to get back into acting and finding new characters every week and every day. But how do you balance that with the headaches of your job, bills, and then someone hitting your car because they don't know how to make a left turn, and now you have to deal with insurance.
Dude, honestly, it's kind of crazy. this thing happens, and then you got to think about it, and then another thing
Yeah.
happens, and then you got to think about that, and then like your body gets older, so like now I have like this rash on my leg, and I have no idea where it came from, but like my ear hurts on Wednesday, and then like on Thursday, like my thighs hurt, and I'm like, what the shit's going on?
What the hell? Like, I'll
uh,
feel sore after playing basketball because I haven't played it in a while, but that's
yeah, dude.
that's something else. I haven't gotten there yet, man.
Dude, you'll get there. Trust me. But back to your question. um, balancing balancing acting with like the annoyance of my job. It's honestly really easy. The only part I can't do anything is like when I'm door dashing or something. But honestly, at my job, it's like really easy. Like the weekends are like the only part where it's busy. But like like when I do stuff, like I'll save the editing for when I have to work because there's like a lot of slow days and then I can like work on my stuff while I'm working. And so that's been
Mhm,
really helpful actually to have. But it is tough to balance it because when you get home from like a freaking day of work, you're like, gosh dang, I just want to relax. But
mhm,
like you got to spend your time working on this stuff so that way you don't have to do this stupid job. So
mhm.
it's a tough balancing act, but it can be done.
Like your professor said, if you wanna do it, how badly do you wanna do it? And,
Yeah. How
oh,
badly do you want it?
yeah, definitely. And, yeah, I guess it's like a roller coaster, kinda like you said, where you get all these auditions and then something happens or you get in a car accident. And, yeah, dude, that's kinda how it was for me because I was able to help a friend out on a video gig this past weekend. I was going to shoot a hip hop concert, my first concert ever. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be sick and
Yeah.
everything. And on my way there, again, a car accident and I can't even go. I was getting this series going like in the back of my head. And so
Yeah.
like I had all this stuff going. Like I just felt creative again. And then freaking Ford
Th-
F-150 comes to my ass.
yeah, dude. These things happen like adulting and
hmm
then it kind of draws your focus away from what you really want to do and it's like this is just a waste of my time right now.
Yeah. But do you feel like you're getting closer and where you want to be and acting and getting more opportunities?
Absolutely not. Straight up. Uh this yeah,
Hey, I appreciate the honesty.
yeah,
Most people
honestly.
probably say, yeah, but
But like I feel good about what I'm doing now, but getting closer to where I want to be, no, not even close. But you know, small steps is what you need to take. You can't climb a ladder with huge steps. So,
hmm
but it throws you out there into these bigger auditions, having an agency, into these bigger TV shows. So that helps out a lot. Um, but 80% of the time, you're not going to hear back from them. Just got to wait for your moment.
hmm yeah, dude. And for people trying to find agents and are on this journey similar to you, how were you able to land an agent and go about that process?
Well, honestly, make connections. Like I made connections. I talked about this in my podcast. I made connections with this like art gallerist. And then he gave me like this book. It was called like the Hollywood of Georgia or something, and it had all this stuff in it about acting and film. And I just looked through all of it. I sent my stuff to everybody in it. And then this agency called me and he's like, how did you even hear about us? And I'm like, oh, I found you in this Hollywood review or whatever. And he's like, oh, we have an ad in there? And he's like, all right, well, we'll sign you. and um, uh, my advice is to just put yourself out there, make connections with anybody you can.
Yeah, that's good. Well, your hustle paid off and you're able to find an agent, find more auditions now. And do you think think a year ago you'd be in this position? And do you think at the beginning of your creative journey, so I guess back in high school, do you think this is where you'd be?
Um, I thought I would be farther along, but life happens. So you can't you can't dwell on it. You just got to keep moving forward. I thought I would be a lot farther along than I am right now because it's like that building from college where like you're working a lot, you're working hard. Especially me, I was working like every day on my stuff. I was putting out like those comedy skits on my YouTube like every 3
Mm-hmm.
days. And so like it was all that fun, and then like after graduation it just kind of takes a steep drop off. You're back at the start. And I honestly thought I would be farther along because I thought I would have moved sooner, but I had no money. So
Mm-hmm.
reality kind of kicked my ass for the third time.
Yeah.
Third
Mm-hmm.
time this talk. Uh it's like life happens, it slows you down. In high school though, uh I honestly didn't think I would finish college back in high school. So I definitely did not think I would be where I am
Yeah, there
today.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
What about you, Rob?
Hmm. This time last year, I don't think I would have thought I'd be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Didn't think I'd have this type of a remote job, and I've been pretty cynical about it, just
Yeah.
because I don't know. I just hate telling people that I do something that's not really related to film at all. But I don't know. I think being remote and I have a little bit of flexibility that I've been able to slowly build up these freelance gigs recently, and hopefully continue with that and then see where that takes me. But yeah, I think with you where it's like you get hit a few times, but I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm like just getting back up off the mat now and like dusting myself off, and starting this show like is something that was
Mhm.
huge for me. I've had this idea for like a year now because it's like I feel like talking with everyone, we're all kind of figuring it out whether you've had instant success in your career path and then
Yeah.
you're taking a break for a little bit or what. But yeah, I think starting this is good for me.
Hell yeah. It ain't about how hard you can get it. It's about keep moving forward.
And that's why you're Sandler. I think my goal was to be creating what I wanted to create and make a positive impact on people. And I think I'm slowly getting back to that because I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you did this, but over the past year, like I watched a lot of philosophical type videos and
Yeah, dude.
people on their deathbeds, like old people, like what's your biggest regret? And a lot of them were not being around your loved ones and stuff. And
Mhm.
so going back to that PA girl on that big production set that I got to PA, not being able to see her family kind of hit me. And I was like, I want to be able to have the opportunity to be there for my friends and family. I love filmmaking and everything, but at the end of the day, those people are the ones who you're going to make an impact on. So I think getting back to that and filmmaking, I don't know, hopefully.
Yeah. I think I may have mentioned this on my podcast, but like there's always like that. I learned in college that there's like this rule, like some director came and talked to us or whatever. And there's like this rule he came up with. All of your decisions should be based off of career, money, and love. And like those are enough to justify your reasoning for anything. Um, so
Hmm. So I want to end each show with two questions. First question is, are you happy where you're at right now in your life, in your career? Are you happy? And I want you to be honest. You can say yes, you can say something else.
um I would say I would say I'm happy. I would say there's obviously days where you don't feel happy and it's hard, but I would say I'm happy. I enjoy the little things about life, and you know me, I always like to have fun with life. You know what my senior year yearbook quote was: "Don't take life too seriously, or you won't get out of it alive." So I would say I'm pretty happy for the circumstances that I'm under. Yeah,
That's good, man. Yeah, being grateful for all the little stuff you have. That's good. It's
yeah.
good. Piece of advice. And what goals do you have for yourself moving forward? These could be minor goals, you know, monthly goals. This could be a long-term goal. But what goals do you want to see yourself set to yourself? Because sometimes accomplishing them can be hard, but if you have them, at least you're striving for something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to know what yours are, but mine currently is I want to be in a musical by the end of the year. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm going to say within the next year because I just signed up for singing lessons uh, again.
What?
Uh,
I didn't know
so
that. Holy shit.
yeah, dude. So I want to be in a musical and I want to have a singing part, and that is my goal by the end of the year. And I just missed out on another audition because I just missed the audition dates. I just found a new theater and I missed the audition dates by 2 days, and I'm pissed about it, but it's okay. But that's my current goal, is to try to be in a musical by the end of the year, if not within the next year. Um, uh, to try to be in a musical. That's my current short-term goal, is to develop my singing voice and be in a musical.
That's good, man.
Yeah, that's some of the things. Obviously, singing lessons, and yeah, that's how I hope to get there.
Awesome, dude. Well, best of luck to you. And
Thank you, bro.
yeah, man. Can't wait
What?
to see it.
Yeah. What are your goals, Rob?
I want to do an animated short film. I don't know if I will be the animator or if I'll reach out to another animator with more talent, which is probably what I will do.
Mhm.
And I have an idea that I think is my best idea yet, and I think it's basically symbolic of our journey that we just spent the last few hours talking about. And I
And
want to
coming 2024.
to a theater near you, Lululand the musical. But yeah, man, that's like a goal of mine.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so something different.
Dude, animation is a baller move.
So we'll see how it works. I have to figure it all out, but I'm working on a script for that, and then I want to grow this. I want to like put out more content for Raw Productions too.
This is what this is.
Yep. Yeah, being able to reach out to people I haven't talked to face in a while, and just talk about their journey and inspire others. And hopefully, this made you feel good about your journey and seeing where you've come from so far, and the struggles and the perseverance though too. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
thank you, Rob, dude. It's been awesome doing this, dude. I did not think it would be this long,
I did not either.
but obviously we're the best of friends and we just keep going.
That's why
Um
2024, we're getting the kids back together.
uh yeah, dude, this has been awesome, and I'm so glad you're starting this, because then I'll get to, watch other people and listen to other people and listen about their journeys too. So this is really cool that you're doing it, and thanks for letting me be on it, and
Yeah, dude.
possibly the first person.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on. If you want to see Lou, check out his podcast, Live, Laugh, Lou, where he talks about his journey in more details, and, it's really open discussion and really inspiring too. And you can hit him up all his socials. I'll put them in the description, I guess. I gotta start doing that as a YouTuber. And,
Yeah.
yeah, check out his other work. And we'll leave the episode with a final word from Lou. Lou, if you got any advice based on how you're feeling recently, either today, this week, maybe something you're going through, what advice would you give someone in a similar situation?
I would say enjoy the little moments in life. Life is crazy. It's a disaster. It will never be perfect. Life will never be perfect. It's hard. It's distracting. So enjoy the little beautiful moments that you have with your loved ones, with just yourself, or just everyday things, little victories. Enjoy the little moments in life because those are the memories that you will have throughout your whole life. Till next time on Rob, subscribe to his channel too. If you haven't already, you're a dummy.